As the New York Times said in an editorial last week, there's an immigration crisis looming next year, but it has nothing to do with the border. Rather, it is the huge effort that will be needed to fulfill the president's executive actions and get millions of American families out of harm's way by protecting them from deportation and destruction. Sure, we are celebrating the series of executive actions taken by the presidents, but we're also rolling up our sleeves and getting to work. So I want to talk just a little bit about what we're doing in the city of Chicago and what I'm hoping my colleagues here in Congress and my colleagues across the country in community-based organizations, legal community, immigrant and Latino neighborhoods in every state will help with getting people ready to sign up when the window to submit application opens in 180 days and the government's review of cases begins. This coming Saturday, the 13th at 9:30 in the morning, I'll be at Rebaño Church on the north side of Chicago, and more than 500 families have already pre-registered for an orientation. We will go over what the president's announcements means for individual immigrants and their families. Then those who have pre-registered will have an opportunity for a one-on-one preliminary evaluation of their eligibility from people we are calling family defenders. We are already scheduling follow-up events this month and into the new year, and we'll be ready to accommodate the huge demand for accurate and trustworthy information. Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been my consistent and outstanding partner in the effort, and we're both committed to making Chicago the model for the rest of the country. And for the advocates, the legal community, the business community, the public sector, we're all working together to make that a reality. That's right, New York. Listen up, LA. Get ready, Miami, Houston, and Dallas. We're going to work to protect as many families as we possibly can in the city of Chicago, and we're challenging you to keep up. But it is not just the major immigrant gateway cities where we need to organize to protect American families. As the president showed us yesterday, cities in the South like Nashville are leading the way to integrate and assimilate immigrant population. This spirit of inclusion is of utmost importance as we help families come forward, register with the government, submit their paperwork and fingerprints, and get ready and into the system. I have told my House colleagues that I plan to be on the road a lot at the start of next year, traveling anywhere they need me to travel to help them conduct outreach and educate immigrant communities where they live. But it's not just the blue districts where we must support our immigrant communities and make sure they register. It will be necessary in red districts too. States like South Carolina, Arizona, and Alabama, states that tried unsuccessfully to push their immigrant community farther underground. I will accept invitation from those states too to get the word out and educate the community in whatever way I can. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, "Congressman, I don't know if this will help my family, my dad, my mom, my neighborhood, my parishioner, but I hope they will not still have to live in fear of deportation." And there are millions who will not be able to come forward and sign up because their cases cannot be reviewed under the president's guidelines. And I tell them that what the president has announced is bold, it's broad, and it's extremely generous and helpful to the United States and her immigrants who have no other way to get in the system and on the books. But it cannot go as far, and it does not replace the need for congressional action and legislation. But let us all remember that by the end of this week, the clock is going to have run out on the best chance the House has had in decades to address immigration in a bipartisan and measured manner. The Senate did half the work by giving us more than a year to craft a bipartisan answer to their proposal. And we tried in many different ways to help this House rise to the occasion to get out of the partisan ditch we have dug for ourselves and to put the country on a path to safe, legal, orderly immigration system that protects the country and its people while welcoming its strivers and innovators from around the world. In the end, the House was asleep at the switch and let the country down. But even as I work with people across the country to protect as many American families as possible, I pledge to my colleagues in both parties in the most sincere way possible, please work with us to solve the immigration issues so that we can move forward as a nation.